This is Movie and a Beer, a podcast based in Portland, Oregon, where you can share in our discussion about movies and what beers go best with them. From classic cinema to the latest blockbuster, we all can use a little help figuring out what beers to enjoy in the theater or at home. So listen in and explore with us the vast world of ales and lagers to pair up with your movie experience. Welcome to Movie and a Beer. My name's Dan Kapersky. Tonight we have with us
Family Guy expert Blake.
And Randall Garcia, local dad.
Right on. So tonight's episode, we have taken a little bit of a break, and we're now social distancing while we record, and we have spent the evening enjoying both many beers.
So many good beers.
So many good beers.
So many delicious beers.
And we watched a couple of wonderful episodes from Family Guy.
On the day that we're recording, it is the national holiday of May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you, yes.
We couldn't pass it up.
Yeah.
Screw
Definitely
the virus. We've got this, guys.
We've got it. So yes, we're about a month and a half, almost 2 months into COVID-19 here in the U.S., and so thus we took a break while we were social distancing, and now we're back trying to be safe and enjoy our beers with our friends. And yes, we're watching things at home because there are no theaters available.
Podcast must go on.
Yes, it must.
Movies and beer must go on.
The really kind of cool thing is we are able to get beer both on draft and in cans and bottles from the local places in our neighborhood here. Both Cerveza and Mac Wine Cellars have draft and cans and bottles available, and we've got a few other places that we can hit up as well as going directly to the breweries if they don't have it in the stores. As you all know, we've been under a kind of shelter in place for a while, and so we decided to make a special May the 4th be with you episode with a couple of Family Guy episodes and lots of beers to kind of enjoy and just hang out and have a good evening and try to forget about some of the stupid shit going on right now. Oh, pardon my French.
It worked for me. I forgot how fun those are. I forgot how good those... Well, for anyone who doesn't know, there are 3 of the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy, as there's 3 of the original trilogy. We had time to watch the first 2.
Yeah,
so we talk about those, but while watching, I forgot how fun they were.
They were amazing.
Oh yeah, this joke and that joke, and oh boy.
Yeah, they're pretty good stuff. We had a couple of hours to burn tonight, so we spent the evening watching Blue Harvest, sorry. Yeah, Blue Harvest, which was the first one, and then
something Dark Side.
Yeah.
And that classic joke where he falls over something complete.
Yeah, so it follows the first, episode 4 and then episode 5.
Star Wars A New Hope, which I think they named after they started making a trilogy. We should probably give that its own subtitle.
Correct.
It wasn't named Episode 4.
It was
just Star Wars.
It was just Star Wars.
It was just Star Wars, yes. Yeah. Cool.
Well, I'd love to see that in the theaters, that year.
Yeah, were you alive?
No. I saw them upon re-release as a youth. And as a youths.
Yeah, there's 2 of us that aren't in the room that were alive when it came out, but the third of us, no.
Hashtag humble brag.
Just barely alive.
No, I was kicking at that time.
Okay.
I saw it in the theater when it came out.
Nice.
As a very young child. All right, so we watched both episodes. If you've seen Family Guy, you understand their sense of humor. It's a lot of riffing. They tried to actually stick to the visualization of the movies. They did cut out a lot of the banter and stupid parts of the movies.
Some of the stuff that would be a little dry for a 47-minute cartoon.
I mean, you're compressing an hour and a half to 2 hour movie down into 40 minutes plus or minus. And the funny thing is they do actually highlight some of the spoofiness related to, hey, we're just going to sit here and say the same thing over and over 3 or 4 times just to waste a little bit of time in the animation versus just actually retelling the story as is.
Which is a classic Family Guy spoof.
Totally classic.
I mean, the first time Peter hurts his knee, it's a solid 30 seconds of him.
Yes, very good. Interesting part about it for me was reliving some of I've seen all of the Star Wars movies from start to finish. I've watched them in order. I've seen them now that we're into the 3 prequels, the 3 episodes, and then now the 3 episodes post. So we're 9, 10 episodes into this, plus all the cartoon series, which I just...
And the Mandalorian.
And the Mandalorian.
So Rogue One.
Solo. So they are going to be, at this point in time in history, producing not only additional Star Wars movies beyond the canon, as well as TV series, as streaming services have kind of blown up now. Disney Plus.
A little bit.
We're dating ourselves for those in the future. Yes.
Now it's Disney Mega Plus.
Yes. Who knows what it's going to be called in a few years, but right now Disney Plus, all the Star Wars franchise, all the cartoons, everything is on there. You can watch them. It's pretty cool.
And some places still have a VHS of the Star Wars Christmas special floating around.
Yes.
my God.
I
yes.
have that in my collection, and it's quite hilarious.
It's
You actually... So here's some fandom.
Hit me.
You get to learn about, in the Christmas special, Chewbacca's family and his history.
Yes.
Oh.
And his species, like Yoda, live for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Nice.
So when he and Han first meet in Han Solo, a Solo story or Star Wars story or whatever the hell they call it, he's actually about 300-400 years old at that point.
That sounds right. I feel like they referenced
a young
that too.
man.
Right.
They reference that, and it's kind of interesting how he is like Yoda. I mean, he lives forever throughout the series. Yoda doesn't live forever, obviously, if you've seen the series, but yeah, Chewbacca, beginning to end, is in there.
That's so cool.
Almost for the whole entire series.
Except, well, no, was he in the? Oh, he was in the prequels too. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
the
he
second
was in all of
or
them.
the, yeah.
I can't remember if he shows up in Phantom Menace. I think he shows up in
Phantom
Clone
Menace.
Wars.
He was in
Clone
Clone
Wars.
I want to
I
yeah, because
I
they.
think.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch them. But anyway,
Do you
Doesn't
know?
matter.
Do you really have to go back and watch it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
we can skim them quickly, or we can just
There we go.
Google that and figure it out. And for those in the future, way down the road, Googling is searching for something.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah,
just assume
now
we use
that
Google.
Firefox has taken over.
Yes. I
Perfect.
keep referencing the future because we're talking about Star Wars, which occurs in the past, but yet it's futuristic and it's
A long, long time ago in the future.
in the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
But somehow also in the future.
It makes sense because it is sort of cowboy westernish, very, we're going to follow Bible-ish.
It was a pretty
Yeah.
classic story, and I feel like he was also inspired by like Kurosawa's storytelling, which is very like straightforward, a little epic, but still down to earth.
Yeah.
Plus there's a Cantina band that plays the one song.
The one song. Any requests? We're going to play it again.
Play that song again.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. They really do point out a lot of the, let's just say, cinematic and storytelling issues and plot holes that exist.
Well, the absurdities that we just kind of went along with
Yeah.
and never really questioned.
'Cause there wasn't anything like that at the time.
I
People were
know.
Like, oh my
I know.
god! Whoa!
Yeah.
Like we'll let him get away with that. Sure, it's amazing looking, right? Yeah.
It was amazing looking for when it came out and kind of set the tone. I mean, at the time, it was the only thing.
Right.
There were no other space movies. There was nothing like it.
Nothing like
when it came
that.
out.
Because they were still working on like doing big on westerns
Yes.
in the late 70s, right?
Yep.
Well, what about Flash Gordon? You guys remember Flash Gordon?
I've seen a couple apps.
Yeah.
Yes, and I did not see that in the theater, but I have seen it multiple times since on VHS and DVD and movies and on demand and all that.
Pretty amazing.
It's a really good movie. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't have the popularity, and the band Queen had a lot to do with the soundtrack
Right,
and the
right.
popularity of it because they did bring something to the movie that hadn't really existed. It was so you go with Star Wars, which is this classic, when you have this wonderful composer, and they actually do spotlight that in the second episode. It's like, or no, at the end of the first one, it's like,
Right.
"Oh,
Right.
Elf," and it's like Danny Elfman, and they kill him off because they're like, we don't want Danny Elfman doing this.
I mean, again, I said before, Danny Elfman has a very specific tune, and it's called Tim Burton.
Exactly.
I love Danny Elfman.
Danny
I
Elfman's
enjoy
great,
some,
yeah.
I enjoy some
He
Oingo
is good.
Boingo, but man, dude.
Yeah.
Every time I hear his stuff, I'm like, oh, it's Nightmare on Nightmare Before Christmas. Cool,
It's the
cool.
same thing every movie.
Oh, cool, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
let's talk about our beers. We
All right,
have beers.
so we drank a whole bunch of different beers, and we're going to do our best at this point in time to talk about them effectively. We can kind of run through them as we drink them. We did a little pre-funk. We had some dinner. We watched the movie, and then drank while we ate.
Some delicious Thai food.
Oh
yes,
my
we had
goodness.
some really good
Oh,
Thai
it's
food,
So I might
so-
eat more tonight. I really shouldn't.
Yes, if anything, if you can take anything away from this episode, please go out, support your local restaurant, hole in the wall, bar, coffee house.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Just go visit anybody in your neighborhood and support them, either buy direct from them, order online. I mean, unfortunately, with the Grubhub and all the
It's a
delivery
little iffy,
services,
yeah.
they're not getting as much money through those services, but at least they're making an effort and they're getting something out of it.
Yeah.
So, all right, beers that we drank. So I started off the evening with a couple different beers, and that would be the Heater Allen Lenzbach.
So good. So good.
Lenzbock, which is a seasonal lager that they make. And I also had the Rosenstadt Helles,
Yes.
which if you just see it in the local grocery stores here in the Portland area, it'll just say Rosenstadt Lager.
Mhm.
It'll say Hell
Yeah,
Lager.
the Hells is really, really little.
It
Like,
is.
I tried to check it in, and I was like, I don't see it any. Wait, this looks familiar.
Yes.
Oh,
so
right.
they started a lot of, and we can touch on this, a lot of the breweries and places here in the, at least Portland metro area, started bottling and canning everything just to try and get their product out. As with a lot of bars and restaurants and things are not purchasing their kegs, they don't want the beer to go bad, and so they're trying to get it out there as much as they can.
Beer does have a shelf life.
It does not. So
Does or doesn't?
I started. I'll talk briefly about
It does, right?
the
Yes.
Rosenstadt,
Yes.
which is a real traditional Helles, real thin. When I say cereal grain, I'm talking more Rice Krispies cereal grain.
I like that comparison.
Yeah. So, and then I moved over to the Heater Allen Lenzbach, which is going to have a little bit more cereal sweetness, which is more like
Cheerios.
Cheerios. It's a little bit more grainy, a little bit more body. It's going to be a little cleaner. Now, the one thing, as I explained, at least to part of the group here earlier this evening, unfortunately,
Me.
Randall was not included in the conversation. The Lenzbach, the reason that
kicked
they
him out.
call it a Bach, it's a traditional Maibach, Maibock. So
Which means what exactly?
that's just the name of the beer, the style of the
Maibach.
Maibach. So it uses both, and you can read the can. We have the cans here.
Now, how is it different from Yerbach?
Yerbach. Well, so there's not a Yerbach. There may be. I have not heard of one, but it's different from a Pilsner in that they're using both. This is both German style, so they're using all German grains and all German hops. They're including what's called Vienna malt with the Pilsner malt.
That's
Pilsners only use Pilsner malt
Okay.
typically.
So these guys are adding like more stuff to it.
They're adding a little bit more to the body of the malt, and it's going to be higher alcohol because the grains are a little bit more sweeter, more dense. It adds more sugar. The hops are going to be similar. You can find really hoppy pilsners, which are similar to this. You're going to have some really like Hallertau White or Blanc, which are going to be the real sharper, earthy. This is just, to me, an amazing German style.
This is great.
It's an amazing beer.
It was really
one of my
tasty.
favorite beers of all time, for sure.
And it's a seasonal thing. They don't make it all the time, which is unfortunate.
That is
That's
unfortunate.
probably why it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
My
you
favorite
can-
beers are usually the seasonals.
Yeah, so for those here in Portland, Cerveza has it. And some of the Fred Meyers may have it. You can find it at most of the bottle shops. They distribute widely in this area. If you're not in this area, I would highly recommend trying to find something that's a little bit. We were talking earlier about like what beer should you drink while you watch this movie.
Yeah.
It's whatever you have in your fridge because we're all stuck at home.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
But we made the effort to go out and try and find a few different beers while we were drinking this.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a sampler platter.
The Rosenstadt was a nice beginner beer, kind of led into the dinner. We had Lenzbach with this. We also had a couple of other beers. No, I would say this was probably the Lenzbach was the best beer out of all of the 4 different ones we tried.
I have
By
to-
far.
I have to agree. I think I only had 3 of the 4, but
Yes.
this one, when I walked into Dan's house, he excitedly like held the can up to me and said, "There's a few more sips in this. You have to try it." I'm like, okay, let me get my shoes off.
Have this
Sit.
this
Okay.
leftover. It was just I was pouring some, and I was like, I'm gonna save some because he's about here, and I'm just like, he really needs to try
And,
this.
and as soon as it hit my tongue, it was like a splash of flavor. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh.
So the crackling in the background is so.
Sorry, I'm
so you'll
peeling.
find
I'm peeling off the
love it.
label.
the peeling of the label. So you'll see that a lot of the places, while they are canning and bottling as much as they can, if they're canning, they're probably going into empty blank cans, which is now what we
Yeah.
have a tall boy in front of us, plus a sticker that they apply. They're usually applying the sticker after it's been filled.
Right. Pretty uncommon.
As I have done homebrew
Yeah.
that has been canned, that's how they do it. They'll do it. There's mobile canning that comes around and does it. So I'm digressing, and we have a few minutes left. Let me talk briefly about the other beers that we tried. We had at least myself and Blake tried
The Occidental.
Occidental Alt Beer, which is a thicker. I guess thicker would be a common term to use when you'd say more body to it.
Yeah,
Not necessarily
it's
thicker
certainly,
liquid, just
it was
more body.
darker.
A bit darker, more malt. Hops are going to be way more shallower on that. It's going to be a little sweeter on the front. It's going to
So
lend
you know
itself
why-
to
you know
way
why I like
smooth.
it.
Yeah, I mean it's a really smooth drinking beer.
Yep.
And then I went over to my draft. I have a commercial kegerator in the basement next to where we were watching the movie, and I had to enjoy
Hashtag humble brag.
a Hopworks ESB. So one of my favorite beers of all time, I have available at home on Kegerator, which is really similar to the Occidental Alt. There's really
I could see that.
the malt profiles, the flavors are slightly different. One has a little bit more cereal, one has a little bit more roast. There's some toffee that you're going to get on the Occidental more than you're going to get on the ESB that you get. The ESB is really clean and standard. It's a German style beer. Alt is from Dusseldorf. I tried it, it was really good. I would say though, out of all the beers that I tried, and I think you guys also agree, the Lensbach from Heater Allen, this Maibach style, which is real
So
traditional.
good.
I think that's our winner. That's our go-to for the night.
I will say,
Yeah.
for the ESB, I love drinking it when I'm outside.
Yeah.
Like, it always seems to taste better to me when I'm like outside. Ideally, the weather's nice, but when I'm like not indoors.
Yeah.
I'm a very situational beer drinker.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. There's something to be said for having what's in front of you and enjoying it with whatever capacity you can.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And fortunately, we have places in our neighborhood that we can get to easily and support and purchase alcohol, such as these wonderful cans and bottles of beer. There's a lot of support you can give to the local community by doing that, and we totally suggest and recommend, if you are listening to this, whatever local brewery, whatever local tap room or bar, or
Even if they don't have like an online presence, like see if
Yes.
they have a phone number you can
call them up, look it up online, see if you can order ahead of time or just show up. A lot of places do growler fills. A lot of the places here in Portland are doing small growlers of their own. I know Cerveza, they do an awesome job. They have their kind of mini half-size growlers with their
Yeah. logo
logo on it. You bring them back in and you get $1 off your fill if you bring back what you have, which is awesome. So it's recycling instead of just wasting more glass.
hopefully saving them money in the long run.
Yes. So
It's a global pandemic, but let's act locally to support local business.
think global, act local.
That's right. Yes, I love it.
That's been around for a while, and we're gonna adhere to that. So, wonderful opportunity to hang out. The 2 episodes of Family Guy that we watched tonight were available on Hulu.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen them, I'm gonna pull a piece of paper out of my pocket. If
I would
still have it.
definitely say if you haven't seen any Star Wars, it might not be as funny, but I think at this point everyone's familiar enough with Star Wars.
Pretty
Yeah,
much seen
yeah.
episode 4, 5, and 6, the 3 episodes.
They
and
hold up.
So season 6, episode 1, which is the Blue Harvest, which is the one that we watched first, and then season 8, episode 20, is the something dark side,
So
Such a
good.
fun title.
and then the next season, which is season 9, episode 21, is It's a Trap.
Nice.
which is the Return of the Jedi. You know, so you've got Star Wars Episode 4.
I
Revenge of the
think they have
Sith.
Klaus from American Dad playing Admiral Akbar.
It's funny.
I think, but
And I would say that we do have to give at least a moment of silence or some pity to poor Meg.
who gets one line?
She got
one
two-
line per movie.
She got one line per movie, per 45, 50-minute episode.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. Because
Poor Meg.
it's like, really?
Shut up, Meg.
You guys couldn't give her any more than that? Really? All right.
Ridiculous. But yeah, very funny. I forgot how good they were.
Yeah. So, 3 big thumbs up for the show. Please check out. You could probably find them on YouTube or any streaming service besides Hulu, but they are available. That's how we watched them this evening. Please seek out your local bars, taverns, breweries. Support your local businesses as you can. Please stay safe. Drink lots of water while you're enjoying these, if you're imbibing while you do so. This evening was a challenge for us to do that, but we will do it before the night is over.
Doing our best. And stay tuned for our next episode. We have a lot of Japanese beers
That's
Yes,
to
right.
consume in the fridge.
We have a number of really interesting older samurai movies,
Yes.
and ninja movies, and anime to watch
Which
in the future.
is a
so.
wonderful segue from
Yeah.
Star Wars, because Star Wars was inspired by a lot of those old Japanese samurai movies.
Yeah.
So
Yes, definitely.
we'll be back, folks.
All right, so
Samurai sword noise.
which is not too different from it's not too different from the whole like lightsaber.
Right, totally.
And then except for the wood blocks, it's just our 2 noises. R2, you sassy bot.
All right, so thank you all for listening tonight, and as always, the opinions expressed during this episode are those that recorded it, which would be the host, which would be me, Dan Kapersky.
Me, Blake, the guy who says hydrate or dihydrate.
Hydrate or dihydrate, drink lots of
And
water.
Randall, the only dad here.
No one got here at this point.
That we so far.
I am your father.
Perfect.
Get it in. All right, so thanks for listening, everybody. Stay safe. Wear your face protection mask or whatever it is. Stay at home. Drink at home.
Shelter in place,
Shelter
everybody.
in place, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll catch you at the next episode. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Later.
Thanks for listening. This has been Movie and a Beer. Stay tuned for future episodes and features to be added to our website and podcast. And please remember to drink responsibly and hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.